Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Welcome back to the doghouse. Today, well, it's the summer solstice. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to catch you folks up on what we've been doing here in the doghouse as far as the train layout and some of the changes that I've been making. And also kind of look at the train that I put together for the month of June. So, without further ado, let's take a look and see what we've got here in the doghouse in the way of changes. Stick around. So here we are in the doghouse, and I just thought I'd share with you folks a little bit of where I spend so much time and make some of these videos and build so many of the models that I do. So this is how it looked before I got the wild idea to go ahead and make a shelf layout here in the doghouse, and I decided I wanted it to run along the wall that you see there. I wanted it to run along the right hand side wall, and I wanted it to run across my desk, and then I had to come up with something to connect the whole thing. So I thought about a helix, I thought about just a turnaround. You can see here is when I installed my desk there, my workbench in the shed about 5 years ago, and this is what I'm going to be dealing with. So how am I going to do this? So I decided to take down the old shelving that I had and a lot of the kits that were there, and I installed this plywood plank. It's about 2 feet wide but 8 feet long, and I ran it all the way along where the old shelf was. So this is nice and sturdy. I built a little area in the corner. I moved the funny car display case up against the south wall, and I figured I could make a nice little loop out of this. And here it is, a nice close-up of it before I went ahead and threw some paint on it. I have a nice tan color, makes a good base as far as doing groundwork. So then I was going to have to run something across the desk, and figured that I would just do some track that I could take up and move from time to time. So let's take you on a little tour of the new shelf layout. So here on the east wall we've got our GP40 from Athearn. That's kind of our little utilitarian on this layout. You see it just came off the spur line. I've got this spur line and a switch over there that I can kind of put some longer trains on. And here we go across the train table. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And I have built this bridge. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute, but it comes across this bridge. Now it is removable. The track on my desk isn't nailed down, so I can just kind of move it. And then I lift this up, unhook it from the other end, and yeah, it's a removable bridge. It's awesome. And here it goes across my desk. I got this little Gandy dancer here on the main line. So you can see, yeah, the main line does work, going down the east side there. And I got this cute little contraption that I picked up, zipping on by. So the bridge. I have this bridge that I picked up. I think I spent $15 for it. And I wanted to actually run the train across the back part of my bench here, my workbench, but that just wasn't going to work out with the curves I had and whatnot. So I got this idea, and I took my test track board. I have this really nice piece of plywood that is only a few inches wide, and I decided to take the bridge and some other bridges that I had and make this span across the gap that goes from my workbench over to where I've got the train table right now. And I want to say it's about a 6-foot gap. I actually haven't measured it, but other than the cut. But you can see it works out really well. And again, this is something I can just unhook very, very quickly to get in and out. The grandkids love it because they can walk under the bridge. You see here we go along the south wall and the train table there, which we'll talk about a little more in a minute. So for the month of June, I thought it would be fun to do like a scenic heritage type train, one of those things that you see in the summertime that you can go on, like the Heber Creeper here in Utah. Anyway, one I decided I would do would be the Durango and Silverton train. And you can see it here. I've got a baggage car, I've got 3 coach cars, and then I have 2 of these open air cars. And the Durango and Silverton, it's a narrow gauge, which is a 3-foot gauge line that operates between Durango and Silverton, Colorado. It's a federally designated National Historic Landmark, and it's also designated by the American Society of Civil Engineers as a historic civil engineering landmark, which is really pretty cool. The route was originally opened in 1882 by the Denver and Rio Grande, and it was designed to transport silver and gold from the San Juan Mountains. The line was extended, or was an extension of the DNRG's narrow gauge line from Antonio, Colorado, over to Durango. The last train to operate into Durango from the east was in 1968. However, this line between Durango and Silverton has been in continual use since 1881. That is pretty darn neat. And it's one of the few that still continually uses a steam locomotive to run on the line. I picked up the train cars. I want to say they were $15 a piece at the train shop. And I picked them up, once every payday kind of thing till I had the entire collection. So anyway, there's my Durango and Silverton. I definitely need to get that derailment issue worked out with my Durango and Silverton engine. But you can see coming up here in a few weeks, we are going to be, for the month of July, talking about the American Freedom Train. And here I have 4449 with lights and sound, mind you, that is running on the main line. So I have not run it around the room yet, but we soon will. Take a look at this beauty. Coming up in a future episode, we're going to have the city of Los Angeles, this beautiful Union Pacific streamliner. So now about the train table. Here on the south wall, I had this preformed piece of layout that was given to me by Doug at MRS, and you can see it's got an impression for a for like a roundhouse and a turntable and all that stuff. And originally this is where I was going to have things turn around and just go right back down, but then I had to move the train table. You can see I painted it here with this kind of an earth tone, but I decided I wanted to build a bar in my basement, and well, the train table was down there. This train table, the one from Christmas. So really neat about it is it's so portable. And so I took everything off of it, took about an hour or so, and took it out to the doghouse. I put it on that south end, and now I have this capability of running, this in there. And that's what kind of led to maybe I should build a bridge and go all the way across anyway. You get the drift of things. So here is, if you don't remember, here's what it looked like before at Christmas time. And I took all of this track up and I relayed the track in some new track, made sure everything was cleaned up and absolutely perfect. And I gotta tell you, it runs excellent now. It had that lifelike Easy Track like stuff on it, which is fine, but I had laid some brand new Bachmann Easy Track on it. And you can see in this video that it used to run just beautifully, but I was having some issues, and I think that was because I tried painting and kind of screwed up some parts of the rail and the connections. Anyway, so I had taken this up. That way I could get 2 switches put in because I needed 2 switches. And now, well, now it runs absolutely excellent, and I think it looks a whole lot better than the old track. Anyway, here it is, and now I can start getting the scenery back on it, and we'll be ready to rock and roll.